Welcome to our session today. My name is Amy Crow, and I'm the Financial Education Specialist at Summit Credit Union. Thank you so much for taking the time to log in today to learn tips for taking control of your finances. So let's get started. For many of us, we learned how to manage our money from our parents, or we picked up this tip or two along the way as we grew up. Some of us know where every penny is going, and some of us have no idea because we feel like we live comfortably. And some of us are struggling and penny pinching every chance we get. No matter what your personal finances are, you can learn how to take control of your finances. At Summit, we work to understand our members and their financial habits. We understand that our members lead lives of convenience, and sometimes they worry about money, especially when sometimes something unexpected happens and they have to scramble, which causes financial stress. What we've found by working with thousands of our members is how we manage our money has a direct correlation to our financial wellness. Our financial stress and unhealthy financial habits prevent us from saving, paying off our debt, and reaching our financial goals. That's why taking control of your finances is so important. It's about being an active participant with your money. You control it, it doesn't control you. So how are you managing your money? Is it working for you? Do you think you might be able to do better? Are you overdrafting your checking account or finding out that you have to pull money out of your savings account before payday? Or maybe relying on credit cards until payday. Maybe you're even trying to pay off your debt and you just can't get anywhere with it. These are just examples of stressors that you might be experiencing. And these examples might mean that you need a change. Our members come to us because they're looking for advice, because they just want to move forward with their finances. They need help, they need some guidance, and they need a nudge in the right direction. They're looking for change, but they just don't know where to begin. We have to tell you it's a process, and it is ever changing. Life changes, and so does our finances, and we need to be flexible, but we also need to plan. We need to start with setting some goals and then tracking our expenses. And then we need to create a budget and adjust those goals depending on our budget. We need to create a saving and a spending plan, as well as a debt reduction plan that's realistic for our current financial situation. Then we need to watch our progress, hold ourselves accountable, and adjust if necessary. During our session today, we're going to share some high-level advice and give you some tips, tools, and worksheets that will help you take control of your finances. Let's start with how to establish a goal. Typically, there are 3 types of money goals: goals to save, goals to decrease your debt, and goals to manage your money better. To reach a goal, you have to create action steps to be successful, and you have to have the right mindset. You simply can't say, "I want to save more." You have to determine how you are going to save more and by when. What I'd like to do is take about a minute and have you reflect and write down some of your financial goals that you'd like to work on. So go ahead and pause this on-demand video and write down some of your financial goals. Let's move on. I'm going to share with you a little bit about how you can track your expenses. I'm going to talk about Summit's daily expense worksheet. It's located on our website at summitcreditunion.com under the Money Smart section, Blogs and Tools and Worksheets. Our members use this tool to help them determine where they are spending their money so that they can make changes based on what they see. They can compare the amount spent in certain categories and then set limits for themselves afterwards. This daily expense worksheet can be easily used in 5 easy steps. The first step is to write down everything you buy into a corresponding category. If there isn't a category on the sheet, feel free to create one. At the end of 2 weeks, add up all the money in each of the categories. And our daily expense worksheet, because it's a downloadable Excel, will be able to do that for you. The third step is to look at each of those dollar amounts. Could you be doing more with your money? Could you reduce some of those dollar amounts to move money to other places? Number 4, set a goal to reduce an amount in a specific budget category that you feel you might be overspending in. Track again for 2 weeks and see how you're doing. I wanted to share with you the story of Elaine, one of our members who's a single mom who used the daily expense worksheet because she realized that she often stopped at her local gas station to pick up a few things like snacks and beverages. She really didn't realize how much this habit was costing her. So, what she ended up doing was she set a goal to stop visiting that gas station and prepare ahead of time items on her grocery list, like snacks and beverages. She was then able to change her habits and, by tracking her expenses, realized that she could move that money into other places. She really learned to build some new money management habits once she identified them by tracking her expenses. Once you have created some goals, tracked your expenses, and determined what categories you could potentially cut back on, now it's time to take all that information and create a plan. We have a budget worksheet located at summitcreditunion.com under the Money Smart section under Blogs and Tools and Worksheets. This downloadable Excel worksheet is very helpful for our members. It can help you set spending limits, create a budget, and that plan. So here's how it works. If you download the worksheet at the top, you will notice that there are goals that you can fill in based on what you'd like to accomplish. You'll also notice that there's a now column and a future column. In the now column, put in your income, your current bills, and all those spending categories from the daily expense worksheet. Then also put in your debts and only put in the minimum amount that you are currently paying. Then look at the bottom of the worksheet. Determine if you are spending more than you make or if you have some extra. Then what you can do is you can use the future column to reallocate money for the things that you have for your goals. This budget worksheet really sets you up for success because it helps you create an overall plan for your finances that includes increasing your savings and reducing your debt. I shared that here at Summit, we work to help members identify their money habits, and we often see members who are using their credit cards when they do not have money in their checking account or even in their savings. They have a hard time paying these credit cards off every month, and they see escalating balances, typically when something unexpected happens or around the holidays. So we know people use credit and oftentimes they're short on cash, they have an emergency, or maybe they're even getting points for using that credit card. What we do is we're able to help members identify what they're actually putting on their credit cards and then help them plan to save for those things in the future first instead of using credit. These irregular and unexpected expenses could be things like home repairs, a vacation, clothing. What we recommend is if you have $1,000 in a savings account, you can start using that money for those types of things instead of putting it on credit. So here's a financial goal that you might want to consider. Over the next few months, work to get at least $1,000 in an unexpected expense account. This could be even things for hair, massages, like I said, clothes for the kids, a weekend trip up north, or even those home improvements. It doesn't have to be a true emergency, although we do recommend that you actively save in an emergency account every time you get paid. You might be surprised to find out how much you can save when you only buy the things that you need. So let's give you some more advice on that. 5 tips for mindful spending to be able to save money fast and take control of your finances. Open multiple savings accounts for those irregular expenses that I was just talking about. And at Summit, we have a great tool to do that. Inside online banking, you will find that you can open up individual savings accounts underneath your main account number with no minimum balance. These can be for those things like clothing, vacations, but ultimately what you're doing is you're creating a pool of money to use and sending a budget for yourself. You're not going to spend any more money that's in that account. And it really helps you break the credit card cycle, but it also helps you avoid emotional spending because you can only spend the money that is in that account that you have at that time. We also recommend to shop with a plan, stick to a list, and don't be tempted to buy things that you don't need but think that you do. And we also recommend that you reevaluate your cart before you actually check out. Were those things that you might have put in your cart that you really don't need that you could put back? And for some of us, shopping with cash and debit coming right out of your checkbook instead of using those reward cards actually helps us cut down on our spending as well. The next thing that I wanted to share with you on how you can take control of your finances is 5 savings tips. Review your savings accounts. Do you need more savings accounts for specific things that you might have identified on your daily expense worksheets or by looking to see what you put on your credit cards where you might need to save for those things first? Many of our members actually enjoy the peace of mind that they get for saving for specific things and seeing that balance increase. And one of the biggest advantages of online banking is actually being able to set up automatic transfers every time you get paid to a savings account or to pay off your debt. And I wanted to remind folks too, It's time to start to invest. You can invest with as little as $250 with our Summit Financial Advisors. You can actually meet with them. You can find them on our website at summitcreditunion.com, and they would be happy to review your retirement accounts or other investment accounts that you have to make sure that you're on the right track to reaching your financial goals. So, the key to save automatically and be more of an active saver is to establish those savings accounts. Make those automatic transfers set in stone so you don't have to worry about them, and then think about ways that you can invest. So let's move on to 5 tips for mindful debt payoff so that you can take control of your finances. It's important to not only create that savings plan, but also create that debt payoff plan. And at Summit, we know that you can save and pay off debt at the same time because you've found money through you're looking at your daily expense worksheet, identifying where you can cut back, finding money to move into a couple of different places. For one of our members named Katie, she was a homeowner. She had some credit cards and some student loans. She didn't have any money in her savings account, and she was using credit cards to kind of bail her out when an emergency happened. So she really focused on having that no spend month. She focused on tracking her expenses and reducing in some areas. And then she was able to get $1,000 into her savings account within 3 months. Then what she was able to do is divide that money in half. She'd found about $250 every month that she could save with. She put $100 in her savings account and then moved $150 to start actively paying more on one of her debts. In fact, it was the smallest debt, and she created a debt snowball. So what we recommend at Summit is you list all of your debts, you figure out what they are, you figure out what their balances are, you really know how much you owe, and then you can set some big and small goals. So it really is looking to see which credit card, student loan, or maybe personal loan has the smallest balance and working on that one first. And then when you've paid that one off, take any extra money plus the minimum balance and move that to the second lowest balance loan and then start working on that one. And really that creates a snowball so that you can have a bigger payment and a bigger payment and a bigger payment every time you tackle one of your debts. We also recommend that you make payments bi-weekly to your debts. Even if it's a car loan, if you can make half of a payment in your first paycheck and half of your payment in your second paycheck, it really helps you with cash flow, but it also reduces the amount of interest that you're going to be charged on that loan. At Summit, we're all about giving you advice and guidance when you need it. We ask you lots of questions when you sit down and talk with us about your personal finances, your goals, your dreams. Really, we want to help you create a plan over time that will help you take control of your finances. So I did want to mention that if you're really struggling with your payments, or maybe you have some creditors or collectors that you are working with right now, or that you'd like to work with to kind of take care of to increase your credit score, we can help you plan what that plan would look like and which creditor that you should really work to pay off first. And we also have a podcast on our website called Confessions of a Debt Collector, which talks all about working with debt collectors so that you can clean some of that stuff up on your credit report. But ultimately, too, when you seek advice and get options, it is all about helping find someone who can hold you accountable, whether it's a Summit Financial Education coach, or if it's somebody who is a buddy or a family member, or if it's just resetting expectations with your family about what you're going to do over a short period of time. You know, you don't need to share all of your financial specifics, but if you share with someone that you're working on a financial goal, just like an exercise goal, maybe they'll help you along the way. So taking control of your finances means watching your progress, adjusting along the way, and finding ways to motivate yourself to do even more with your money. So I have 5 tips for how to monitor your progress and adjust your plans. The first 2 are all about using online banking in your mobile app, checking your balance and transferring money whenever you need to, and setting up alerts. So you can do that. So if your checking account goes below $100, you can actually set up an alert and it will send you an email or a text message if that happens. We also have something called Climber. It's a personal financial management tool located inside online banking. You can set up goals, you can set up mini budgets and spending targets that you can really work towards. So if you say that you don't want to spend more than $300 on groceries for the month, it will let you know when you are close to that spending limit. And then, of course, I talked to you about our daily expense worksheet and the budgeting worksheet that you can use to monitor your progress every single month or every 2 weeks so that you can make adjustments and that you can move forward and be motivated to take control of your finances. We've covered a lot in our short time together today. We have talked about establishing goals, tracking expenses, becoming a planner, and using a budget worksheet, and also how to watch your progress, monitor, and adjust it. And I'm hoping that these tips and tools that we shared with you today will help you take control of your finances. So it's action plan time. As we end our session today, I'd like you to just pause and reflect and think about what can you do to change your finances? Could you download one of our Excel worksheets? Could you go into online banking and try out Climber? Would you set a financial goal? What are you going to commit to doing in the next day or two to take action with your finances? Okay, so thank you so much for your time today. I just wanted to remind you that we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so please feel free to like us on all those social media sites. You know, when you put advice into practice and you know more about your money, the more you're able to increase your savings and reduce your debt, and the more financial wellness you will have. So I hope you take advantage of the full range of financial education resources we have at summitcreditunion.com, but also feel free to reach out to us to talk with a Summit financial coach about any financial questions you might have. So thank you so much for your time today, and be well.